possibly say hello. Hello, 1,000 times hello to you guys for this new episode of the Vault of Doom podcast hosted by me, Mickey Gemini. I'm super pumped about this one because I'm going to be closing off the April issue of Metal Hammer as we enter into the month of April and start cracking into the May issue of that magazine coming up here pretty soon. Give a few hints and without giving it away of some upcoming projects with both the podcast and musically for my personal project on my YouTube channel, and check out some guy getting knocked out in a safe space mosh, because I had to look into it with this Gen Z moshing thing going on where everybody's doing safe moshing and literally describing it in ways that I just couldn't possibly imagine, let alone withstand being there doing such a thing. And all the other stuff we're going to cover here is all the other festivals that I've been forgetting, saving the best for last on that, considering that the ones that I'm covering on this are not having Rocklahoma included, even though it's on Labor Day. But we're going to be having the absolute most heaviest bands in the genre being there at the festival, and we even go into the websites and talk about the sponsors a little bit. Album reviews available from the Metal Hammer April issue. We're going to be breezed through. You guys can check out my Google feed as well. And I'm pretty happy with this episode as I did minimal self-promotion. Did not mention my Twitter more than once this time, or did not mention any of my other future projects more than once this time. So I'm pretty happy about that, as I think sometimes I might be blowing you guys up with that type of thing, as I do not have any sponsors at the moment. So these are freaking deets for this episode. Fests and Metal Hammer April issue. Without further ado, let's go. Watching on the last podcast that I watched on YouTube with some moshing, being safe space moshing. It's a Gen Z mosh where you're safely moshing space from each other. And these guys are doing it, and yet still the dude gets knocked the fuck out right there. Anyway. I was watching this podcast about that on here, where I just found these guys that are new to me, and let's just hop straight. This is Inferno Festival time over in Oslo, where it just had 4 days of madness go down, and all this whole podcast about it. It's all over the place. There's this fucking shit here on in this podcast you guys should check out by these guys with a bunch of fucking cool shit, and then I commented and said a bunch of authenticity that I saw in there, and he commented back and said, yeah, that's what we pride ourselves on. That's what we pride ourselves on here, so that's cool. Big ups to him for replying to me on that, and then filling me in on what the fuck happened in Inferno. As I saw somebody on Twitter with it, and then I was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. And all coverage is just all over the place for here on this place too that I just subscribed to. With all the coverage going down for this, and then jumping on the actual website for the actual festival, seeing that the magazine that you guys are about to check out with me is also one of the huge sponsors for that. I mean, not huge spot. It's literally on the bottom of the list of sponsors, but it's on there. And then I can try to show you a clip or two of this, or just the opening of that. I'd rather not. So just moving on from that. From that and straight on down here to this that I think is horizontally displayed. I don't think it is. Let's see here. It looks like it's vertical display. So I'm gonna have to. I think it's only because it's a magazine, though. It could be wrong, but we'll try to do a horizontal display here because I don't want it screwing up with my camera. Whether the camera adjusts. There we go. Sweet. Still on horizontal display. Cool. All right. So the picture you're looking at right there is Rob Halford. He's holding a kitten, and that's on the cover of this issue as well. As we'll jump straight to the cover of that. It's the April 2024 issue of Metal Hammer UK, not Metal Hammer regular one, but Metal Hammer UK. There are obviously big differences in all of the articles because it's different countries. These are the cats he's holding in the cover, and then we're going to go straight to the article and see what we can find that's cool over here. Got to make sure I stay conscious of the Spotify listeners who are only auditorily with me. In that, we're just going to read a few excerpts or whatever the excerpts are on here. So, that coming out episode, I could suddenly be who I am. The coming out episode. Okay, so he's talking about Rob Halford. He's talking about coming out of the closet. Yeah, he can suddenly be who he is. Hot topic, hot button issue. And he says, there's this full-on determination to see if we've still got it. And then, I'm not going to even try finding where I've read it, but it's been stated in this magazine that they are currently dealing with the best album yet that they have put out. And that's good to hear from these metal legends, Judas Priest and Rob Halford, the frontman of Judas Priest, or his side project, Fight, or if you've watched the last episode, that whole theme was homage to the greats and legends of the genre that I never quite get to where I'm trying to get to on that, but it's okay. It echoes on, ripples on out through the future episodes like this one right here. So, other stuff that I want to cover on this issue of this magazine before I return it, and that is a few excerpts here from the Poison Ascendancy Tour, as the Poison Ascendancy Tour, I believe, is beginning, and let me see here, no, it's 2025, Greatest to play their debut. So the Poison Ascendancy Tour is next year, and then this whole year, obviously, these guys are still touring, and you know what, I haven't actually seen them on any other bills of any other festivals recently, but that Ashes of Leviathan tour is coming up soon as well, and they are, let's actually hop somewhere else from here and come back to that Poison Ascendancy tour topic while we jump onto a few other festivals that I seem to have closed out the window to. No, here we go. Rocklahoma, Lamb of God, Mastodon are going to be in Rocklahoma, and then a few other pretty cool names. I'm just not sure about all these other ones, or why the big ones like Anthrax, Clutch. I have to go over this with you guys here for a second. Let's check this out. This is weird. This seemed kind of weird to me. Clutch and Anthrax don't have their logo on there. It's not that big of a deal. There's a few other names here that are going to be pretty cool to see. It's just cool to see, like Winger and Cold Chamber, and especially considering what the frontman and creator of Cold Chamber said when he was on that other podcast that I mentioned and referred you guys to, named Scottish and Guitars Podcast, with that guy Andrew McKay Smith, Aussie, and he's saying, the frontman of Coal Chamber, saying that there's no freaking good things coming from starting a band with people because of this guy having no legal control over the band, and then he says he can't go and play Coal Chamber without blah blah blah. So I'm thinking, if we dig up and do the research on the Googling, we might find that answer, and that might come up later. But I have definitely to keep on moving here, as we are already really far in on time on this episode, and wow, this episode is going by fast. I uploaded like an hour-long hidden episode last week, and then now I'm doing this official episode. Make sure you look out for next week's cornucopia episode, as an ode to the Greek god Pan and his cornucopia of abundance. I'm just piecing that together this week and seeing how it goes. Anyway, this is Rocklahoma for August this year, and that's that. Getting on to the more important stuff. Is the Poison Ascendancy tour next year, the Lashes of Leviathan tour, whenever that is, and then these others that I have queued up on web browser, like I was just telling you about, official infernalfestival.net website. For this to have ended on the 1st of April, here's what the website is saying. We would like to thank our volunteers and crew, including the Rockford crew, Current Claw Hotel, the Hub crew, Water, Badland, Rockane, Brugada, Magazine, Salt, Niven, Goldie, partners, sponsors, press, photographers, video crew, tattoo artists, exhibitors, stands, DJs, IMC delegates, and participants. We also extend our gratitude to all the artists and everyone else who contributed to making this year's edition a huge success. Last but not least, we want to express our pre-ended Infernal Metal Festival 2024. Thank you for all the enthusiastic feedback. Infernal Metal Festival is a festival made by fans for fans, and it means so much to us to see the audience have an amazing time at our festival. That's why we are doing this, and it makes all the hard work worthwhile. You are all awesome. We welcome you all again to Infernal Festival, from April 17th to 20th, 2025. See you next year, and stay metal. Early bird tickets for 2025 are available here at Ticketmaster. And it's saying for fans by fans, but it's not as appealing to me as Summer Breeze, where we are going right now. It's been completely independent since 2007. Anyway, this is the bill. No, 1997. So 10 years before that. So this is the bill for that, and then we'll jump back to Inferno Fest. Then we'll jump back, go on over to Metal Hammer Magazine, where we'll close on up, because I don't have much prepared for the night. This is just a closing up Metal Hammer Magazine. Few more festivals, and there's more festivals to cover. There's more festivals to go through after that too. So for this coming Summer Breeze, on August of this year, we have a Monomarth Architects, Fierschwanz, Behemoth, Lord of the Lost, Motionless in White, Subway, Sally, JBO, Rotting Christ will be there, the Black Dahlia Murder, Delane, After Burial, Megahertz Blind Channel, Brothers of Metal, Burning Witches, Knock to Blut, War Kings. This would be good for you Spotify guys that can't see me, but you can hear me as I'm reading off the bill for Summer Breeze. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can review your work, or you're on break or you don't like working, so you just multitask and watch podcasts while you're working, you can even just mute this and then have the closed captioning and let the AI do its thing probably and shit. Just let it, you don't have to hear me talk and shit. Alright, anyway, Paleface Swiss, Crypta, 1056, Body Snatcher, Future Palace, Mental Cruelty, Dimitri, and many more. Obviously, there's going to keep marketing this, telling us, giving us updates. We want updates on Summer Breeze. I want updates on Summer Breeze. You want updates on Summer Breeze. I'm going to give you some updates on Summer Breeze 2024. For those of you who can go to Bavaria, Dinkles Bull, Bavaria, check these amazing artists out this year. So I'll close that out, jump back over to Inferno Fest. And just as a reminder, I'm not going to go over nearly even scratching the surface. You're not even going to be able to start scratching the surface on this one here. As I've already mentioned at the beginning of the episode, all of the recaps and all of the videos out for recap on this festival are out and going crazy on my feed. Blowing my feed up with all the recaps on the YouTube, on the Twitter, and probably on my threads too or something. But here's what you should know. All the sponsors, like all this stuff, the Hammer, Ready Oracle, Goldie, Brugada on Brugada Oslo. That's good to know. I need to freaking know that. Fatherland, Rockin', and Van Bar, Clarion Hub, John D. Rockefeller, Innovation Norway, Music Norway, Summer Breeze Open Air. Summer Breeze is a sponsor of Inferno Fest. That's also good to know. Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, Grants Oslo, the Research Council of Norway, Coulter Credit, Arts Council Norway, all in the sponsors section. Communities, tickets, facts. So this is a 18 and up place to go. I'm not going to find any bill here, and that's just fine. That's just good and well as you need to check out the recap. Personal thing here, jumping as a side note. This is a clip I'm going to play from a fucking tour that I needed to check out 2 years ago and I didn't. So I'm going to have to really make it up for myself because this looks sick. Alright, that's enough with the clip. Moving on to closing that out and then moving straight on back down to the magazine. Where we'll find some cool facts about this Poison Ascendancy tour, this much anticipated Poison Ascendancy tour, like these quotations, just only the big ones. I don't feel like zooming in. It'd be a missed opportunity if we didn't record a song together, says Matt. I mean, that sounds like something that Matt Tuck from Velvet for Our Valentine would say. Matt Heafy doesn't talk like that. It's just like something that like we're going to make this the event it needs to be. I want to watch both sets. It still sounds like Matt Heafy though. It's like I'm like on point here. I know who's who around here. So it's going to be. I don't only happen one time. Yeah, it's super anticipated. Everybody's stoked about it. That's another thing that's blowing up my feed, especially on the YouTube. If you want to check that out. On the previous episodes, we covered this article on the downward spiral, and then I'm gonna actually, if there's time, I'm gonna jump onto the feed on my Google feed and check stuff out on there, as there is a few things that I want to go over on that. And B, there's more mention of just a completely disassociated mention of the Downward Spiral album by Nine Inch Nails, making me think it's just like some marketing thing, that it's, pretty successful considering that it's, all of the facts involved in that. You're going to have to check out episode 9 in order to get the coverage of my coverage of that album, and then that news article on this issue of Metal Hammer Magazine UK. So then moving on down through to the views, that's going to be the easy part here for this issue, as it's a quick brush through on all these reviews on recent releases. Now there's like 6. Oh, it looks like 10 pages. We're gonna go and brush through these really fast before you jump to the feed. And then starting off with the boarded, I did a tweet about that, and then I had actually, I don't know where I got the idea about the artwork, but that was actually, I think, from another source, like on YouTube or something like that. And then they said something about unless it's on here, I don't see anything about Cannibal Corpse, so it's not on here, because there's a reference to Cannibal Corpse on the right-hand side, lower right-hand side of this album art that one of the previous albums had. And then I can look into that too. I'm not that crazy about them, so I don't know, or that whole genre. So it's Belgian death metal aficionados settling in for a night of video nasties. Oh, okay, that was the important part about that, and I posted a tweet, is that each song on the album has a feature. Also has a bunch of horror movie themes in the songs and in the artwork. Alright, so that's Aborted, it's the latest release, Vault of Horrors. And if you watch the World Piano Day episode I did, While She Sleeps is in there. And they're in here twice on the magazine for the actual official album review. Here by, what does it say? Just doing these reviews. I don't think it says, it just says, so, alright, so Self Hell is the album by While She Sleeps. Sleeps Brothers might be the reviewer. Thrill Jockeys reviewing the next one, this one. No, Sleeps Brothers is the record label. Okay, alright, okay. So it just doesn't say who does the reviews on this page. You're going to have to look into it and see who does the reviews in order to give credit who does the reviews. But I'm guessing this is AI generated part where if you like Linkin Park, Bring Me the Horizon, and Bad Omens, you can listen to While She Sleeps and enjoy yourself. I just won't. Same thing with Aborted, basically. But here we are, Borkengar, for fans of Enslaved. Isan Finster Forest. And then those guys are on Century Media, so you want to check those guys out, everything from there. Listenable has an artist called Devastator, Conjurers of Cruelty, that are similar to Venom, Sodom, Bone Hunter. Back up top, Body and Disfig for listeners of All Their Tongues, Boris, and Low. For Thrill Jockeys, they have a new album called Orchards of a Feudal Heaven. And it's really artistic in that it's got so many detached, abstract sounds that come through it. Very much a little special treat to myself from time to time. I can't say that I would listen to the whole album even once. So let's see here. We're definitely not going to cover all of this in the time allotted, but we're going to cover all this for sure just to get to that feed. I'll hit that mark for maybe like a 4 or 5 minute after the normal time. Here from Prosthetic Records, they have a band called Brat that you can see right here. They are similar to Napalm Death, Misery Index, and Escuela Grind. I'm going to start by looking at the record label, and then if I like the record label, then I'll go in, and otherwise I won't. So X-Order, again with the Scars and Guitars, they have interviewed X-Order, the guitarist for X-Order, and talked a lot about it. There's a lot of good stuff in that interview. Go and check that one out for sure. Scars and Guitars, X-Order. They're under Nuclear Blast, and Defective Omnium is out now. For fans of Pantera, Prong, and Vision of Disorder, that's where you want to. I personally I dug the one track that I got a preview of in that episode that I watched, that I listened to. But it just was, again, it's just not my cup of tea. So moving on along to know we'll get to, here's another prosthetic. I know we'll get to Season of Mist eventually, but for now we're just looking at here, like, listeners of Stoner, Sonic Youth, Hot Snakes, no thank you. And this magazine is where you definitely want to be if you're into the heavier stuff. You're not going to find a lot of this in Revolver or in any of that. I mean, at least not nowadays. I know back in the day, Revolver was a lot better, specifically Revolver, considering that it had like a lot more of the scene jumping around on all over the place, whereas right now this whole scene is just a mess right now. This whole scene is just completely full of a bunch of people that it's just really hard to sift through it. I aim to help with that by sifting through this in my free time. So here we have Nordvis production for fans of Hex Vessel, Blood, Sun, Liaison, whatnot, prosthetic. Fans of Trees of Eternity, Insomnium, Recur. Yeah, I mean, other than what you can see if you're watching on YouTube or what you've heard so far from the Spotify version, it looks like that covers all of the album reviews. As I'm seeing Dragon Force now from Napalm Records, and definitely no thank you, as skilled as they are. Here's Merrimack, the Season of Mist, and their latest album of Grace and Gravity. It was given 6 out of 10 stars. And then the review is going to be compared side by side with my personal review of the album, as I didn't like it. It hurt. I had to listen to it again, and when I did, I found all of the meticulous details about the album matching perfectly what this person is saying, where it's not as heavy and there's a lot of spaces and a lot of spacing out on this album. And I agree, so I would have to be in agreement with a 6 out of 10 rating here on Merrimack's of Grace and Gravity. There's also a Peaceville release from a band called Mortal Skull, Creation Undone. 6 out of 10 as well. For fans of Pink Floyd, Opeth, and Tool, you want to listen to this heavy psych sounds. Mr. Bison, Echoes from the Universe. Actually, I got those mixed up. The last one actually is 7 out of 10 for fans of Malevolent, Dying Fetus, Creation, and Obituary. So, yeah, decent. Maybe I'd check out Mortal Skull, but yeah, if I had to choose between Mr. Bison and Mortal Skull, I'd probably choose Mr. Bison just for that Opeth, Tool, Pink Floyd reference similarity. Metal Blade with Midnight, Hellish Expectations. 8 out of 10 stars for fans of Venom, Motorhead, Bathory. You know, that's just where I kind of have to pay the credit where it's due type of thing. It's not even really that big of a deal at all. But it's like, it still is important that I share something and spend time on that. Moving on along to here, Ghost, as we are out of time, with Ghost, Ghost, not the Swedish pop metal band or melodic death metal. I don't even know what you would call that band. I don't even know. They're super extremely popular and huge, and whatever. This is not them. These guys are under Metal Blade. They have this electronic, you're in a German dance club and hanging out doing ecstasy with people. That's the kind of vibe I got from it. And the album art is sick. Badass mushroom cloud and a demon flying upside down like he's diving headfirst into it. And there's for fans of Godflesh, Health, and Carpenter Brute, 7 out of 10 stars. And it does actually say who did the review. So that last review right there is Holly Wright. I don't even believe that's the last page of reviews. I think there's actually more here with Ministry, Techno Animal, Lydimus, Bring Me the Horizon, and Cabal, Bury Tomorrow, Sounds of Salem, Metal Allegiance, Malevolence, Periphery. Then it goes into a whole nother article. So with that being a whole nother thing, I might save this issue just for that, and just for that only, as I've already read all these other articles, and I'll just simply be doing this for, I don't know, maybe in the meantime, another issue will come along, as we're already in April. So the May issue of Metal Hammer should be out any day now. And there is the upcoming news for me that this this little folk project, secret folk project right here that I announced last night in the works. Gonna do that before I return that. Twitter feed, we're gonna jump on that another time as well. So as for right here, the Google feed. This is my Google feed. A death metal recording studio is being recognized as a historian in Florida. I just don't want to click on it, so I'm not going to. Rocklahoma Music Festival is now under new ownership. We just talked a little bit about that. Photographer sues Napster over album artwork in case that may upset music industry. Danny Carey explains why track says modern trend of relying on it too much from Ultimate Guitar. See, Ultimate Guitar app and Ultimate Guitar as a news source is actually pretty decent, and I'm thrilled that you can get something from the same platform. I'm just also like paying attention to where any of this stuff has come from before I even speak on it. Like, so far that was a name I don't know, Petapixel, you have to look into that, ABC, you know that, News On, Louder Sound, everybody knows that. Rocklahoma, again, 2024 lineup released. See who's coming to Pryor for America's biggest Labor Day party. So that's, May or something like that. Let's see, so unrelated stuff, some unrelated stuff, more unrelated. Crisis of Revelation playthrough from 5 days ago being posted here amongst all these beautiful guitars in the background while I let that play and get up and get some water. Aside, even though it's a guitar playthrough and even though that was only like 10 seconds, I'm still worried about copyright constraints. The only thing I'm not worried about is this feed ending. So until I see something decent after that, I'm going to keep on scrolling out here. With Lizzie Hale and Skid Row, we covered that last time. This is interesting for Forbes. AC/DC's Highway to Hell album sales surged by over 4,400%. It's a lot of album sales, especially seeing them on a completely non-related Twitter account earlier, wondering what that's about. Head scratcher. For these Loudwire stuff, for these The Toilet of Hell stuff, that's album review, and that's cool video to watch. Thrash musicians play their favorite stuff, and then the premiere of Malignancy, Purity of Purpose. With that, guys, I'm gonna let you go. That's the whole show. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Check out the Twitter, and there on the top of my Twitter account, you'll find my cash tag, where you can show your support and keep this show going. So this has been episode 11 today with me, Mickey Gemini, here in the Vault of Doom. Metal music, metal news, metal podcasts. Rock on and let it roll.